There are thousands of videos on YouTube right now that tell you how to smash the interview, but they miss one important component, the biggest component of all. Well, two perhaps. And these are the secrets to landing the job interview. Now there are two parts to this process. The first part I've already covered here, and there's a card in the corner, you can watch that, but you may as well watch it after this video now. And part one of that was preparation. If you're not going to prepare, you're not going to get the job, because your competitors will prepare and they'll take your job. Step two, where we are right now, is research. So strap in and let's get to it. Okay, the channel's called Start With You. I'm really big on what you can do to put yourself in the best light at all times. And when it comes to interview, it's no different. What are you going to do and how are you going to prepare for your job interview? Appearance. Now you will be judged. I'm not here to debate the right or the wrong of that. What I'm here to say is, if you're applying for a job, you should be looking sharp, professional, and confident at all times. Now there may be industry specific examples where you don't need to do that. For example, if you're applying for roles in the creative industry, to Google perhaps, you probably wouldn't need to turn up in a suit. But for the rest of us mortals that don't work at Google, you are going to have to wear something that makes you look more professional than the next guy. But the converse to applying to Google is applying to a major bank on Wall Street or the City of London. It would be unheard of to turn up at interview in anything less than a formal suit. But if in any doubt whatsoever, just mirror the culture of that company. I would still wear a suit though. Footwear. Professional. You can decide what that looks like, but it's got to be professional. Shoes, boots, highly polished, very clean, no trainers, it's shoes and boots. Dress for the role. You know where you're applying to, you know exactly what the culture's like, so just meet it. Don't go there looking slovenly like a vagrant. Personal hygiene and grooming. Right, so hair, nails, short, neat. Teeth, clean, brushed, and breath smelling minty fresh. You don't want to be shaking the hand of the hiring manager saying, "Hi, good morning," breathing bed breath on them or dog breath on them. It's just the most off-putting thing in the world, and it already is a mark struck against you on that interview. Demeanor. So shoulders back, looking confident. You need to go in there looking like someone that they want to employ. Now this probably will be a bit more difficult for those who are more introverted, and that's totally fine. But for an hour or so, you've got to put on an act. Now it's not an act where you're going to deceive anyone. This is an act where you're trying to present your best qualities up front, because they haven't got weeks and months to get to know you. It's literally a couple of hours. When you arrive, you sit and meet the receptionist or the front desk, and then the interview itself. That's it. Them, the company. You need to be researching the company's size, the employees, the culture. Is it going through any growth phases? Is it going through any difficulties? Are there any growth areas? Look at the hiring manager, look at the interviewers. You can ask for this information. They may not tell you, but it costs you nothing to ask. And we've got resources now like LinkedIn where you can look at these people, see who they are, see what they've done in the past, and it will help you build rapport when you get to job interview. Are there any key issues in the company? You don't want to be applying to a company or to a role where the company's about to go bust. Would you like to apply for a job at Nokia 2 months before Apple launches the iPhone? I don't think so. And finally, do you know anyone that's ever worked there? We've all got connections on LinkedIn that we can see that we're also connected to sort of second and third order connections of people. So if you know someone or a friend knows someone that worked at the place you're applying to, get their take. Was it a good company? What was the culture like? Was it proactive? Was it positive? There's so many things you can garner from this, and it will enable you to go into the interview and ask really intelligent questions, and it will be evident that you've done your research. If you've taken time to research the company, they will appreciate it. They'll appreciate the time you've taken, and it will put you in a much higher standing. Travel. So back in my military days, there was a phrase that we always used to say, and it was time spent on recce is seldom wasted. So time spent on reconnaissance is seldom wasted. Go to where the interview is a day or a week before. Make sure you go at the time of day that the interview is. If your interview is at rush hour, you're going to have to set out pretty early to make sure you're not caught up in traffic, because being late for an interview is an excuse, and there's no excuse for being late for an interview. Check out alternative options. Is there a bus? Can you take a train? Is there a taxi? What are all the backups you can use to make sure you get to your interview, not on time, ahead of time? And if you can, probably an hour before. If your interview is in a place where not but a 5-minute walk away there's a cafe or somewhere you can just go, sit, breathe, gather your thoughts, gather your notes, it just means you'll be able to go into interview looking that bit more calm rather than disheveled, stressed and hype as if it's like a challenge that you just want to get out of as quickly as possible. Similarly, with that research is parking. Are you going to be able to park your car there? Don't go to that location and then find you have nowhere to park and the nearest parking place is a 10-minute walk away, and then if you have to park there, it's going to take you 10 minutes to walk to interview and you're going to be late. And like I said, there's no excuses. And weather, I mean, it's less of an issue for you guys in the States, especially on the West Coast, but here in the UK, we don't know what the weather's doing ever. So we always need to prepare. We've always got an umbrella in our boot somewhere. So for us, it's a factor. But you don't want to be turning up to interview soaked like a drenched cat. So if you can, get there early and again, go to a cafe or somewhere or a library or something, stopping short, getting dry, take a brolly, then you're prepared. And when you walk through the doors of the building, you look pristine, unlike someone they know that they can do business with. The bottom line, do not turn up late. There are no excuses. Post-interview. Yep, post-interview. The interview does not finish until you've been offered the role, or if you haven't been offered the role. And to be honest with you, after watching these two videos, I can't see how you wouldn't be offered, but there we go. And the reason for that is when all the interviews are finished, I have done this in the past. I've gone onto the profiles, the LinkedIn profiles and the Facebook profiles of the individuals I've interviewed, and I want to just cross-reference the things that they've said to me in interview. So if you've got anything embarrassing on your TikTok feed or your Instagram feed, you may want to hide that temporarily. And a really nice touch, like a total pro tip, is when you get back home or to your apartment, is write a thank you email. Contact the person who contacted you, be that the hiring manager, the receptionist or the recruiter, and just say, hey, I really enjoyed the interview. Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with you in the future. Because when they get that, they'll think, hey, this person really wants to work for us. It's not just someone turning up for an interview. We're one of 10 interviews they're doing this week and he's just hoping to get a paycheck. If you show some love, show some effort, it will come back in spades. So there you have it. There are the two essential steps for getting an interview. Preparation in video 1, it's up there, and research. And if you do those things, it means you'll smash the performance when you get to interview. If you'd like me to do a video on the interview techniques itself, then leave a comment below and I'll put something together on my thoughts on how I think you can absolutely crush any interview you do. And don't forget, if you could leave a like and a subscribe, the YouTube algorithm absolutely loves it. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks very much.